Yo, we're back.
Ew.
Ew.
So, really, before we started, Steven was being so mean to me. He's not really that mean to me, but he was making fun of me, and I don't do well when people make fun of me. I only make fun of them. Anyway, it's kind of like with this housing search. I just want what I want when I want it, and once I've decided I've made a decision, like the decision's made, just give me what I want.
And you're not getting it right now.
No. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
All right, guys. Mizell Show. Tune in.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now.
Steven's being mean to me.
This is not my first time doing
Steven's
this.
being mean to me.
Don't listen to her.
Steven's being mean to me.
Don't listen to Alanna. We are back on the Mizell Show.
No, you are.
Oh my goodness. So you're not talking on the show right now? You're clearly talking right now. Drinking a beverage as always.
I just wanted to spit this water at you.
Rude.
You're not being very kind.
Why are you a little emotional right now?
Yeah, my baby starts kindergarten tomorrow.
Oh, Adele starts kindergarten. Yes, for y'all that don't know, we have a 5-year-old starting kindergarten tomorrow, and Alanna is
I'm in my feels.
in her fields. It's okay though.
And Briggs is going 5 days a week.
And Briggs is now
my baby
going
is going
to
5 days
the
a week.
2-year-old class, and he's going to be there 5 days, enjoying and embracing and doing all the things. So,
and I've been with a kid at least a day a week, at least 2 days a week for 2 years.
yeah, since I started that whole career move,
The whole career,
when we first started that, we pulled it. Adele was going 5 days.
She was originally going 5 days, and we moved her back to 3.
Moved to 3. Is it that spring? That fall we did.
It was that fall, so fall of 2019.
Fall to when you pulled her back. Ooh.
And then spring of 2020,
Yeah.
the world hit. And so, yeah.
Talk about some sacrifice. Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, so stop being mean to me.
Because when we pulled her back, Briggs is already born. Yeah, Briggs is born.
Yeah.
So you're taking care of both of them.
You mean like I just did for 8 weeks straight?
No, but like, I mean, let's just call it what it is. But like, back then, Briggs, let's say that, I don't know. I
now
guess
was harder than then.
Really?
Briggs wasn't really mobile as much as he is now. He certainly wasn't talking back to me. He took 2 naps a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was easier then.
Okay. I mean, shouts out to Alanna. Forgot about that. I remember that, but I just, as you said, like, this is your first time in 2 years. You're like,
2
geez.
years without a kiddo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kicks off tomorrow. In the midst of all these things, you guys heard last
changes
week on the podcast that we are house hunting. And Steven's been a real estate agent for a long time now. But it's been a very long time. It's been 8 years.
It's been 8 years
since we
since
looked for our own house.
Yeah, and at that point, when we first looked for our house, I think we, as in us, was like my second transaction. Like my second or third transaction
Yeah.
ever. And so now, a few more.
It was the second or third, for other people, the second or third house that you had closed on as a real estate agent.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we really didn't know what we were doing.
We didn't know what we were doing. Like I said, we put an offer in on Christmas Day. And
Luckily, we had some great mentors. But the market has so drastically changed in those 8 years.
It is so changed. And right now, as you guys heard last week, we are in the midst of looking. We are grateful that we don't have to like leave at a certain time frame.
Yeah.
You know, mentally, we are pushing ourselves to do that.
Right.
But, you know, we are averaging seeing probably 10 to 15 houses a week.
Physically seeing?
Yeah.
I would say, Yeah, that's probably pretty close.
Yeah, and so
minimum on like slow weeks, we're talking 5 to 7.
5 to 7, and this is like getting out, and as we said, we are looking and we are stepping out into some uncharted territories, some areas that we are trying to tap into, trying to look. So that means get home from work, we'll eat a dinner, and we throw the kids back in the car. And I think it was last week. We were sitting at dinner and we finished dinner. We were about to just go, kind of wind down and maybe read a book or something. And Brick said, "No house." And so now our kids are almost processed to, after we finish dinner, we're going to go see a house, because the market is you don't have time to wait.
Right.
And to kind of, get your bearings. And this is something that's challenged me. And it kind of goes to what Alanna was talking about, we were talking about earlier. When you go through change, you have to be flexible and learn to adapt. And something that's making me adapt now is that I am a processor. And so hindsight, I would love to see a house on a Monday, be able to chew on it Tuesday and Wednesday, go back and see it on Thursday, and put an offer in on Friday.
Steven thinks he's a brisket, and that it's just got to slowly cook.
I mean, yeah, but that's how some people are preparing for change. They want to be able to slow process it. They want to be able to analyze it. And I'm not, during that time, I'm not like calling a million people and asking for advice, but like, you want to do that.
You just sit.
And so now it's this housing short.
And I'm the opposite.
Well, you're forced to be the opposite. But
most of the time, you're a marinator. And once I've decided change is going to happen, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, but this housing search is
it's caused me to do the reciprocal.
Yes.
So it's caused you to speed up and make a decision.
Yep.
Which typically you would have a more lengthy time frame. I think we waited 3 weeks to put an offer on our old house.
No, it wasn't 3 weeks. It was a minute, though. It was at least a week.
It felt like a while.
Because me and you saw it. Then we went back with my parents and brother-in-law. Correct. And luckily, the house wasn't getting much traffic, and they'd already moved out. So we had like a free reign of going to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely marinated that last house. It was a brisket. It was definitely a brisket.
It was a brisket. And now that's just not an option. But I think it's so parallel when you're ready to make change. It's kind of like, for me, if I'm ready to make a change, it's just got to go on and happen.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to change my mind.
Yeah. Is that, yeah.
Right. And this house search is just, it's an Evan Almighty. At one point, oh my gosh, what is the guy's name that's in it? I just totally...
Steve Carroll?
No.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman's in it.
Yes.
And he's sitting at the bar, and they talk about how Evan says to him something about patience. And I don't remember the exact phrase, but he says something along the lines of, like, yeah, but you prayed for patience. And now you're being put in... Guess who's got it in her phone?
Of course, in your phone.
Do you think if you ask God for patience, that he gives you the patience or the opportunity for patience?
Ooh.
Or the opportunity for patience.
So Alanna is currently living an opportunity for patience.
Well, and you're also currently in the opportunity to where you've got to think fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're both being flipped on our heads in terms of what we're used to doing. And I think as this housing search has progressed, I've been forced to make decisions quicker, clearly, and process faster. But also, Alanna is being forced to, based on the housing search, of being patient, of hearing back and trying to see. As of today, guys, we have literally put in 3 offers and been shot down.
And none of them were under the asking price.
Oh, no. And the thing about it is, if this was...
Which is so not like us.
It's not like us. Because as an agent, you look at every aspect. You look at the return on your value. You look at what money has to go into. You look at the neighborhood. You look at the comps. And all 3 houses, be completely full disclosure, if the market wasn't like it was, we would have went under asking price.
That's just how we are.
But even the houses, though. I mean, all the houses we put offers in.
Right, but I'm trying to get a deal.
Yeah, we're trying to get a deal, but also we see what these houses need.
Right.
And we can't.
But I think kind of everything that you just said, when you're talking about really massive changes, like that in your life, or a job change in your life, one of the biggest things that we do and preach about are two different things. One, making a pros and cons list of what you actually need and what you desire. That's, for us, it's huge when looking for jobs, because jobs and houses and things like that can be so glitzy and so glamorous depending on where they are, what the perks are. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, dang. Yeah. That's not actually what I wanted. Yeah. It wasn't on my must-haves list. Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more. And it wasn't on my non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think a job and a house are massive. And although you can always change your job, a job where you are at that place 40 hours a week ish.
You're spending more time there than...
Weighs heavily on your family dynamic.
Yes.
Is really what it transfers to. So if you have a ton of stress at work or fill in the blank or whatever environment that you're in that isn't going well, and you're going to bring that home, especially when you have little ones. Our kids, I know, feel the stress of this housing search. I know they feel it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important, I think, to do a pros and cons list before you ever step foot on the trajectory of your change.
Yeah, and you have to be, first of all, the pros and cons list needs to be written down in pencil. Because one thing that I have noticed through this pros and cons search is that there is some flexibility with that, but also you have to really remember those things and stay true to them. And I say all this because we're giving you guys like...
What's an example of something that might be pencil for us right now?
Pencil for us.
Not pen.
Ooh. I don't know. Maybe everything is in pen for us.
So I would say a erasable pen.
Erasable pen.
You know, I have those.
I mean, I would
say
a 2-car garage is erasable. I mean, if
we'd prefer a garage, but really we're not gonna offer on something that doesn't have at least a carport.
Yeah, but I'm saying garage. Yeah, that's...
So covered parking is really in pen.
I don't know. You love some Midtown. If the house hit right in Midtown, I think you might actually...
That would have to be a stunner. It'd have to be a stunner. But...
Or room to build a carport.
Sister ain't in the mood to build a carport.
Bruh, you love a nice 1909.
You right. You win. But I would say room for our kids to run, and how much of it. The yard is really the only pencil-ish thing. Yeah. And so I think it's important for your things that are in pen, whether it be a job or a house or whatever, relationships. That's a great one.
Yeah.
That those are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
We need minimum 3 bedrooms. We need a space for Steven and or I to have an office.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And then something else, because like as we go through this process, we've kept a lot of people about the nitty gritty details. Of course, we're telling you guys on our podcast about like what's exactly happening. So another thing is that when you start talking about those non-negotiables, you have 2 sets of friends you can tell. You can tell the instant co-signers like, oh girl, don't worry about it. Or you have the savage. And the savage will tell you, like, no, you said you weren't going to do this.
Right.
And so this
They're the
week,
ones that know.
We had a conversation on the fly with a friend of mine.
With our savage.
And we were seeing...
Who we love dearly.
We love him dearly. We were seeing stars about a potential house. And it's one of those things...
Because it had a 1905 vibe.
Had a 1905 vibe. It had a yard. It had space. It was on acreage. And it was like, oh... This could be really, really nice. So we were kind of iffy about the price. And then the crazy thing about this opportunity was that it was kind of like put to us in our pocket. So it wasn't really hot in the market. We had time to like maybe talk and maybe even negotiate.
We got to marinate a little.
We got to marinate a little bit.
Okay, it's similar to like you all of a sudden get your dream job, but you have to move across the country or you have got to move across the world.
And you don't know about those. Yeah.
And that wasn't, that was the pencil.
Yeah.
The location for us is sort of in pencil. Like,
yeah,
we're pretty flexible when it comes to this house. And like, maybe for you, when you're looking for your job or you're looking for your relationship, your, your marital spouse or whatever it might be, that's the pencil. The location might be in pencil.
Yeah.
And for us with this house,
we were feeling really good about it. And Alanna has a very, as you guys know, listen to our podcast, a very creative brain. And so I
don't know that people know that if they just listen to the podcast.
Well, hopefully they listen to the podcast and they go to your Instagram and then they like follow you. I mean, like I don't give too much credit.
I would say that people probably don't realize my craftability.
I mean,
or the way that my brain processes without knowing me in person. That would be interesting to do a little poll.
That means people...
Anyway, irrelevant.
Yes, long story short, she
not
sees
important.
Things, she starts visualizing how things can be redone, and this house had some really good bones, and so I go to my savage friend, and I'm like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. He was like, why? And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't asking for that intensity from you.
Yeah.
And he just breaks down so many factors and things that we maybe deep down inside knew, but we were like pushing them to the side like, oh yeah.
We didn't want to hear it.
We don't want to hear it. Yeah, exactly. We didn't
want to hear it because we knew that was on the line. And we knew that it was, yeah, okay, we're compromising there, but we're not compromising in all these other spots.
Yes.
And so that's also so important that, y'all, we spoke to one person outside of Steven and I. And it was only a person that, one, we know is just honest and loves us, loves our kids, has continued to show up always.
Yeah.
It's from years, y'all. 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years, yeah.
8 years of continuously showing up for each other's families. Yeah. And probably one of the only voices we would have actually opened our ears to.
Yeah, and the key is those friends will give you that input when they're not even asked for it. I just mentioned to him that we were thinking about doing this. It wasn't like, hey, what do you think?
We want them to come out and see it.
Yeah.
To get their insight on fixing things.
Yeah.
We didn't say, what do you think about the location? Do you think this is a bad investment?
We didn't say anything about that. And he just gave us the input. So it all goes back to saying, like, when you're making these changes, you're going to have the select group of people in your life that are going to be, the savages are going to be the co-signers. You have to kind of navigate that.
I don't remember what number episode it was, but your levels 1, 2, and 3 friends.
Yeah.
And he's clearly a level 3 friend. But on top of that, the reason that you need to have at least one other, I would say no more than 3 other people that know you're solid in pen, pros and cons list when you're talking about big life changes, is because those are the people that you've got to call before you make the glitz and glam decision.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't sound glitz and glamorous to probably people listening that were like, yeah, hey, we're going to walk into a fixer-upper that's a couple $100,000s and then have to spend more money. To everybody else, that doesn't sound it. But to us, what we were doing is building a home for our family, and it had all these other aspects. So when you're making a job change, when you're doing these big life things, you've got to have that outside person because you are too glazed over.
Yeah.
To the reality of what the ramifications might be.
Yeah. And again, it's going back to you being willing to not only say those things and listen to those things, but it's tough. And this housing market, as we continue to go through it, we're keeping you guys posted. But it's been a journey, and I feel we're getting closer, even though we continue to strike out. But
Steven is Mr. Positive Pants.
I am Mr. Positive Pants,
and I'm not.
But here's the thing: this week alone, guys, we literally had at least 4 to 5 houses that we felt really, really good about. And that's a large number compared to what we've had previously. Like, we're going after 1 and maybe 2.
Last weekend and the weekend before.
And this weekend, we could have put another offer in on a house and probably got it, and it would have been fine for a house. It would have been okay. And it would have worked. It would have been a good space. It would have worked for us. And it wasn't like out of our budget. It was a little bit further out, but it would have worked. Mm-hmm. But we didn't do it. We said, you know what? We're not going to just now fall into this backup, because I feel that if that house or another house this weekend was the house, we would have put an offer in initially. But we didn't. We put it to 2, put it to 3.
You got to trust your gut.
You got to trust your gut.
Yeah. And I think that that's also one. It's so interesting also when, like, you have a job interview or something like that and you walk in. This actually happened to me somewhat recently. I walked in, left, was impressed with the company, but I didn't have a vibe.
Yeah.
And it was a great opportunity, but I just was like, my brain wanted to say yes, but my gut was saying, don't you dare.
Not yet. Don't do it.
Not yet. Yeah.
Don't do it. And that's something you struggle with, because it's one of those things now, kind of go back to our housing search. We're still looking. We could have put an offer in and maybe got this one. We're like, you know what? Not yet. Just like the job.
Yeah.
You're now looking for some new opportunities. Do you need to tomorrow start something? No. But you're looking and thinking about it. But you could have just said yes to that one. And the thing about us, a lot of people, you can say yes and just go and make it work. But how many people in life are just making it work just to make it work? Right. Showing up every day at a job, at a relationship, somewhere, just showing up because it's making it work. Just coasting.
There's actually a phrase that, a quote, I guess I could say, I was leaving the gym not this past spring, but I guess it was 2 springs ago. And I vividly remember getting this phrase and hearing, I know you're tired. I see you working hard. I will reward you. And I would say that phrase over the last year and a half
has continued to ring
is about all I can cling to. And when things are, when we're facing these big life challenges like Steven and I are facing again.
Yeah.
And continuously being shut down and doors being closed, gosh, does the rejection hurt? Because it almost feels, especially when you're talking about houses and jobs, it's almost like they're rejecting you personally. And they're not.
They're not, yeah.
They don't know me.
Yeah.
And even when you're having a one-on-one interview, they're not rejecting you as a person.
No, they're looking for the fit.
They're just trying to look for a fit for that opportunity. But gosh, how hard is it to not feel like that is saying you are not good enough, you are not worth it, you are not what I wanted to take over my house, my position. But at the same time, when you really think about it, God is saying, I know you're tired. I see you working hard. I will reward you.
Yeah. And that's something that we've clinged to. But yeah, I mean, it rings true. Like, nobody likes feeling rejected. And when you get those emails from companies that don't even give you a chance to interview, or you send an offer in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. And then they just say no. You're just like, it's hard. It's very, very tough.
And we talk a lot about being uncomfortable and getting uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And yet, y'all, this is the vulnerability point for Steven and I, because we are so severely uncomfortable with not getting our way.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. And again, it goes back to something we can't control, and like you can't control. So when you apply for a job, you might have a friend or contact, but basically they're looking at a sheet of paper and using that sheet of paper to determine. They might do some digital footprinting, but they really don't know you. With a offer at a house, they're looking at sheets of paper to say, oh, this number looks good. This pre-approval looks good, but they don't know you. So for us to be the outgoing people that we are, the connection people who want to like just talk to someone, and we don't get that opportunity, oh, it eats at our soul. I know it eats at my soul. I'm like, oh, you have no idea.
I know.
Without that.
The offer that we put on this weekend, I just want to be like, but let me just talk to him. Let me just talk to him.
Yeah.
And we're also salespeople by nature. It's just like, but I can just sell them our family.
Oh,
if I can sell anything, it would be my family.
It'd be a family. And the crazy thing is, we're going to leave you guys with these 2 stories. Now in Memphis, it's a lot of places, and we won't go into detail. They are rejecting love letters. So,
so previously,
in a slower market,
or it had become a thing to where a couple putting in an offer on a home could write a literal letter, like, let me tell you about my family and how much you love
letter
it.
or an email.
You spewing your guts over a piece of paper about how much I love this house, kind of thing. And now that's a no-no.
That's a no-no.
That's a no-no.
And I'll be honest with you, when we sold our previous house, that played a huge role in the offer that we selected based on
100%.
The letter, the personality, the people, because we wanted that to be passed on, and we appreciate them for what they've done and what they're going to continue to do to make that house their home.
Right.
But of course, we have to leave you with a story about. So one thing about being a realtor and having a family, you got to just go with it, because you don't want to always just dump your kids on somebody and then you're like spending money while you go spend maybe even more money on a house. Mm-hmm. You bring them with you. So Adele is an angel, but with Briggs, she got some rough edges, and I love to see her feisty this. And Briggs is just a bull in a china shop. So
yeah, he's awful.
Last weekend we showed a house with Briggs, and it was a vacant house. And Briggs now, what is he doing lately? Like locking door? What is he doing? No, we didn't tell the story last week. We didn't.
Are you sure?
We told the story to the person we called afterwards because we were saving it for this week.
You're right. Okay.
So Alanna sometimes forgets what we talk about on the radio.
On the radio? We're now on the
radio show.
FM radio.
You were staring at me like, why is he telling this story again?
We've told it a million times.
And we told it like, let's do it again.
So we're in this vacant house.
I can't believe.
I was like, why is he telling?
Why is he saying the story again? Is he my dad telling the same story again?
Oh my God, my dad tells the same story 700 times.
So we're in a vacant house.
We're in a vacant house, and Briggs' thing is locking doors lately at our house. He thinks it's hysterical.
He can reach the doors now, and he's just like all about it.
Locks them. Doesn't matter if you've got child safety locks. He puts his little nubby hands in there and locks it. So he decides to run upstairs before we're up there.
And this house needs some work. So Alana's like pinpointing some things to me like, hey, look at this.
Right, like I'm processing out loud.
Yes.
Which Steven doesn't process out loud. I process out loud. Adele's telling us, Briggs went upstairs. Okay, we'll get him in a second.
And usually we run. Like, we're like, oh, Briggs. But this time I'm listening to Alanna.
Dead. Yeah. We're in the middle of a conversation. So he is upstairs.
We hear a thud.
We hear him crying. And then, like, he crying. I was like, Steven, go.
And the thing about this is a vacant house. I'm like, okay, what could he have gotten into? What has he done?
Brother locked himself in the bathroom.
He literally locked himself in the bathroom.
Not only in a bathroom, but in one of those bathrooms at the toilet and shower, there's a door. Then the vanity where the sink is a different door. So one door was closed to go into the toilet.
Yeah.
And he had closed himself in the vanity section. So it was pitch black dark in a house that he doesn't know, and we couldn't get him out.
And this house is vacant, so it's no like...
It's not like you're going in their side drawers or going to find a toolbox or anything like that.
And that's the thing that I didn't tell Alanna. So we're sitting here now trying to get him to open the door, and we know he knows how to do it, but like at this point he's like panicking, like he's like
freaking out. There's no way he's opening that door.
Meanwhile, big sister is like, oh my goodness, with my brother, and then we are like,
she's sweating. She literally had sweat on her upper lip because she was so nervous,
and we're trying to like figure out and find something to do. So I finally went to the attic and found like a little safety pin.
I didn't know you went to the attic.
I went to the attic. But in the meantime, my parents live like maybe 5-10 minutes away. Like, we called them like, okay, like we have no tools.
We tried for like a minute and a half, and I was like, call your dad right now.
Yeah, we're like, I do something because
panicking.
He was panicking. And then he's on the other side like, hey, want to listen to Blimpy Dump Truck? So Alana's like playing Blimpy Dump Truck. And so somehow I was able to finagle the lock enough to open it up.
Y'all, it was a solid 10 minutes.
It felt like 30 minutes, but I didn't tell Alanna this. I didn't realize it was pitch black on the other side. I thought the light was on. So when I saw it was dark.
It was dark.
When I saw it was dark, I lost it. Like,
I also
oh my
thought,
gosh.
mom brain, He's in a bathroom. Oh my gosh, if he turns on the faucet and can't figure out how to turn off the faucet, it's going to overflow and he could drown. He could hit his head. Like, bathrooms are the worst place that he could have gone into.
I was thinking he's going to hyperventilate and pass out because he was getting himself so worked out.
I was worried he was going to throw up all over the place.
It was a traumatic time for us.
Steven really thought for a half second that he was going to have to knock that door down and be like, hey, agent, I got to buy you a new door.
I buy you a new door.
So sorry.
And then the whole process of knocking the door down, where was Briggs going to be? Would he be behind the door, like knocking the door?
Also, this is not the first door at a house that Briggs has locked.
Yeah.
He locked a different door that we couldn't get open.
But luckily
he wasn't on the other side.
He was on the side, and then people lived there, so they came back and they opened the door. But yeah, so we're definitely keeping tighter grips on B.
And you would also think that after that, he wouldn't come home and lock the doors.
And he locks the doors. He's locked us out of the house before. So yeah, it's a thing that
we're learning. Just wait till he locks his teacher out of the classroom or something. He probably
might
will.
do that. We need to tell Katie that he's in his door locking phase. But no, guys, like I said, the housing surge, the change, continues.
If you are in the middle of a change, ultimately, this episode was more so if you're in the middle of a change, you're in the middle of looking for a house, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Big changes are so hard. And I
Be careful
know
who
you're
you're communicating with.
I know you're tired. I see you working hard. I will reward you.
And guys, we appreciate you. And next week, the Mizels have been quiet on the Olympics. But next week, the Olympics will be over, and we will be tuning in on Simone Biles, Sha'Carri Richardson.
What do you call it? Uncapped? Is that what the people call it?
We will talk about the Olympics with no cap, not
no
uncapped.
cap.
All right, on that note, we are out.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizelshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.